So specifically for the endocrine system, there's different parts to this. The thyroid sits right here. We have our adrenal glands back here. Of course, we have ovaries in women and testicles in men. You have your liver, your pancreas. All these are very important components. Most of them are controlled by the pituitary gland, which in return is controlled by the hypothalamus. One very important thing to understand about that whole system is that most of these run on what's called a feedback loop. And a feedback loop is kind of like your cruise control on your car. I was using my cruise control to drive over here. You set it at a certain speed, and if you start going downhill and you speeds up, then the gas comes off. And if you start going uphill and you're slowing down, the gas pushes down. And your pituitary is kind of like your gas pedal. So if, for example, your thyroid gland is not making enough, then your pituitary turns up the signal to tell it to make more. And if it's making too much, the pituitary turns down the signal and tells it to make less. That's called a negative feedback loop, and that's the most common way to do this, that our body controls itself. Hormones are chemical messengers. They go from one part of the body to another part of the body, and they deliver a signal and tell things to happen. They coordinate all of our organs. They're produced by glands, and it's all part of the endocrine system. Now, the thyroid specifically controls our metabolism. So the thyroid hormone is actually not a complex molecule. It's actually 4 amino acids called tyrosine in this little cage hooked together with 4 iodines off of it. And that's called T4. And then we're going to go into how that's activated. But it's not a really complex molecule, but it's what helps you burn energy and stay warm. So we see all kinds of symptoms when that's not going right. It also especially helps you make protein. A goiter is an enlargement of your thyroid gland, and 100 years ago in the northern Midwest, the soil was deficient in iodine, so almost everybody developed a goiter because iodine deficiency is the most common reason to have that, and that's why there's iodine in the salt. They added iodine to the salt to make that go away. Now, one trade-off when you put iodine in the salt is you get a lot less goiters and you get a little bit more autoimmune disease of the thyroid called Hashimoto's and Graves' disease. And that's something we'll come back around to. That's an important point also. So, any part of your body can have an autoimmune attack on it. Rheumatoid arthritis is when it attacks the lining of your joints, is the most common one that people understand. But really anything, there's a name for all different types of autoimmune diseases. And the ones that attack the thyroid gland, the two most common are Hashimoto's and Graves' disease. There's specific nutrients that the thyroid needs. Of course, you need tyrosine and iodine, but also the enzymes that make the thyroid hormone and activate it need zinc and selenium and iron, and they're specifically poisoned by mercury and other toxic metals.